Bonjour and welcome back to my channel. Claude here. Thank you for joining me for today's video. This is going to be another VR. I don't know what's going on with me at the moment. I'm finding out loads of hashtags that I find very interesting, and this one is by CrescentDreamsTarot. And what they've done is it was the first tag that they ever created, and it is to do with tarot community build, so introducing yourself to the tarot community, getting to know each other, which I thought was such a beautiful idea. So thank you so much for creating this tag, Livy. I think that's awesome, and off we go. So the first question is, what's your name, your preferred pronouns, and your channel name if you have one. So as I said, my name is Claude. The name of my channel is the Tarot of Claude, and as for preferred pronouns, I don't mind, I don't care, use what you want, whatever. The second question is, what first got you into tarot, and if you have a channel, why did you create it? What got me into tarot is meeting my best friend's mother. He had been trying to make this meeting not happening, basically, because he considered his mom to be a little bit weird, and he was, I don't know, afraid that he'd get judged on that. She was a tarot reader, and she was home once when we came back to his place, and she was not supposed to be there. I met her. Long story short, I just loved her, and yeah, that's how I got introduced into tarot, and I was 15 at the time, so that was about 30 years ago now. Why did I decide to create my channel? Well, that's because I wanted to be able to reach a wider audience, to be able to, give advice, guidance to people who need it, and also share my love and passion for the cards and for tarot books and everything to do with tarot, because I do not have actually many people around me who share the same interest. So that's why I did it. So question number 3, what is your tarot aesthetic? What decks are you attracted to? The simple and shortest answer to that is I don't have any aesthetic. I swing from a specific type of deck to another. Actually, the deck just needs to speak to me. So I could be using a Tarot de Marseille, like the Tarot Sirène, for instance, like this one, which is significantly smaller. Obviously, being a Tarot de Marseille, it has pips, and this one is sea-themed. So I could be using something like this. And then the next time I grab something, it could be for instance, Tarot of the Everlasting Day, which is an AI generated deck. So, with lots of creepy people that don't have photos, for instance, don't have a face on the photo is what I mean. That's also a pip deck, but it has the scenic pips. You get either pips or scenic cards to follow the Rider-Waite-Smith if you want, so you've got both sets, which is really cool. But so they could be something like that. But then after that, I may decide that I want to change, and I may use my Tarot in Wonderland with Alice, because I just fancy something completely different. So as you can see, I can't really say I have an aesthetic per se. I may also, after that, decide that I want to grab my Egyptian deck. So it could be my Nefertari tarot deck, with all the golds and so on and so forth. Oops. And then I may also just want to read with my Supernatural Tarot. I'm a big fan of Supernatural, the series. This has a very limited color palette, as you can tell, and obviously features the people from the series. So if you know the series, you'll see the references. And I may want to use this deck, for instance. So I can't really say that I have an aesthetic. I also have lots of like tarot decks that are more ancient. I have the Tarot de Jacques Vieilleville by Artisan Tarot, which is a beautiful deck. I also have, for instance, the Tarot de Marseille by Piticci. Now this is the black edition, but I also have the normal one. The black edition has basically the majors in the black background. So this is obviously more traditional, because it follows a type 2 Tarot de Marseille, like the Nicolas Convert. So yeah, I really don't have an aesthetic. I can't tell you if I do. It just needs to speak to me. It just needs to give me messages, basically. Would be the answer to that. The fourth question is, what tarot system is your favorite and which do you want to learn? Okay, so I learned cards, as I said, more than 30 years ago now. So we're talking about, and I'm French, so I learned the Tarot de Marseille system and cartomancy, playing cards. So this is where I feel the most comfortable. And then later on I learned the Rider-Waite-Smith system. Now, I do like the Rider-Waite-Smith system, but sometimes I feel that it locks me too much in the meaning of a card, you know, because of the pictures on the minor arcana. I also do not like how astrology has been forced onto the system. When I learned how to read tarot, we were not really using astrology. I mean, you know, I love astrology, but to me they are two different entities, tarot and astrology, so I do find that a little bit strange. When it comes to other systems, which are not necessarily tarot, but cards still, I have learned the Lenormand system, love this method, use it regularly. I've also loved the Kipper. So these are the ones I know. The one system I definitely do not want to learn is the Thoth tarot, or the Thoth tarot, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And please do not shoot me down for this, because I know this is a very popular system, but hear me out, okay? Now, I've done my research and my studies, and there's a very big reason why I don't want to touch this system, and it's simply because of the man, Aleister Crowley. I have issues with him. I've researched his life and so on and so forth, and you know, he's led a very decadent lifestyle. He has been accused of having ignored the cries for help of people who were on a skiing expedition with him. They had an accident and he just ignored them and saved his skin, basically. Obviously, allegedly, but those people survived, and you know, that's what they witnessed. He also moved to Italy and got kicked out of Italy in 1923 due to the death of one of his young followers who allegedly died during sacrilegious rituals. He was depicted as the wickedest man in the world by the British press, you know, around that time. He called himself the Beast 666. I'm sorry, my conscience will not allow me to touch this kind of energy, basically. So, you know, if you don't believe me, do your research, by all means. If you're surprised by it, you probably are. I mean, I don't know. Before I go behind the system, I research, and that's what I found, and I was very shocked by it. I had no idea. I'm just glad I did the research, because I do not want anything to do with this kind of energy. Whether the deck is beautiful or not, I really have issues with the man, so I don't want to buy a deck that was created by someone that had this kind of energy. I hope this makes sense. You know, it's just my own opinion, obviously. I'm not trying to force it onto you. I'm just explaining to you why I wouldn't touch it. Now, what I would like to try and learn is I think it's called the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. Now, it's been out for a while, and I've had my eyes on this deck for a long time. And I know it doesn't completely follow the same structure as the tarot. It has-ish, you know, majors and minors, but, you know, different numbers of cards, and uses different symbolism. So I'd be very interested in trying to learn to use the Dreams of Gaia Tarot, so it's probably going to be my next one. That's what I would like to learn. Okay, so next... top 3 favorite major arcana. Okay, so let's see. For me, it's the Karma cards. So it's going to be Justice and Judgment, and I'm going to try and grab cards to show them to you. I should have prepped them really, and I did not. So we have Judgment here, and I'll tell you what my third one is in a minute, but I'm just trying to find Justice. And the reason why it's Judgment and Justice is because I'm very interested in the topic of karma, just generally speaking. It's always been like that since I was a child. I don't know why. It's kind of obsessive with me. Probably because my mom worked in the law, you know, so I've been exposed to that quite a lot. And why can't I find this card? How annoying. Oh well, if I can't find it, I will show you the print I have of it, because that's the one I chose for this deck, because I love it. So there you go, there's Justice. So Justice and Judgment, you know, the idea of karma, the idea of you reap what you sow. For Judgment, you know, the wake-up call, the report card, looking at something and deciding what you're going to do next. Bettering yourself, you know, because Judgment is also a transformation, a moment of enlightenment, of awakening. All of that is something that really interests me. So I would say these two cards I really associate with a lot. My third one is the Chariot, and that is because I am absolutely fascinated by the victory of willpower. You know, it is unstoppable. The force that comes with the Chariot is unstoppable, and it fascinates me. I don't know, I'm just in admiration of the energy of this card. So I really like that, the success that comes from, you know, not deviating, from going for what you want and not stopping until you get it. I have a lot of admiration for this kind of energy. So that's my three major arcana, favorite ones anyway. Favorite suit of the minors and why? Okay, it has to be the coins for me. The reason being, let me show you another deck. Let's have a look at the tarot, the Bianco Nero. So for instance, the King of Pentacles is right here, so that's perfect. And then we have the Ten of Pentacles. Right, coins is earth energy, and it's you know, the most reliable type of energy. It's grounded, it's practical, and it deals with your everyday life. And I believe this is very important because I'm someone who has a tendency to be very much in my head. I'm very sword-like air, and the coins really, this is so grounding, so pragmatic, that this is to me the one also that speaks the most clearly in readings, because it deals with everyday situations and events. So as far as I'm concerned, the coins is probably my most favorite suit. I get on well with people who are earth, you know, just generally speaking. I find them trustworthy. Some people may say that, you know, earth energy is predictable. I think there's nothing wrong with a bit of predictability in life, but then again, that's just my point of view. So yeah, the coin is my favorite suit. So that was question 6. Then question 7 is, which of the quartz would you consider as your significator? Okay, so let me grab another deck to show you. For me, I will always be a page. Now, I do not see the court cards as, you know, the page is the younger person and the king is the older, and so on and so forth. Yes, it can be if you're doing a personal reading with somebody. Obviously there might be something to it, but this is not what I'm talking about. What I mean with that is, there you go, I've got my 4 pages there. Pages are learning. They're at the bottom of the court cards, and they're training to become the knights. So they're the learners, and I see myself as someone who's forever learning. I have a thirst for knowledge, which is why I will say to you that I associate myself the most with the Page of Swords. Now, I know sometimes the Page of Swords is, well, he has a bad reputation, you know, as being somebody who can be quite mean and gossiping and etc, etc. I don't see this at all. For me, swords represent air, represent the world of thoughts, ideas and communication, and the page of swords is somebody who studies, who will research, who will get the data in order to move forward, who will look to the left, to the past, to analyze the past, gain the lessons that need to be acquired, and then turn to the future. So for me, I see myself as a page of swords, and if there had to be a second one, it would be the page of coins. You know, serpents is coin in the tarot of light and shadow, because this is again a pragmatic, hard-working energy, and I am a hard worker. I apply myself a lot, so it would be those two, but primarily the page of swords. So that's which of the quartz I consider as my significator. Okay, question 8. There are 10 questions. Is the cardstock a big deal for you? Hell yes. I am a huge fan of linen stock. Now, I don't collect tarot decks, I use them as tools. I do readings on my channel, I read for other people. They are tools, so my decks need to be able to survive heavy use. They need to be pliable, and also I believe that decks are tactile. Okay, if the deck doesn't feel good in my hands, then I'm not going to use it, so there's no point. Now, this is the Tarot of the Divine, and this is my favorite cardstock. It's linen. So I'm going to try and show you. I hope you can see what it's doing. It's got a beautiful slip, and you see, when I tell you I don't have an aesthetic, this is a tarot based on folklores and tales. So, you know, that's another one of my decks. I really like it. And you can tell that it doesn't come from the same cultures just by looking at the artwork. But this is a beautiful, beautiful linen cardstock. And this is not the only deck I own that has linen. I also have the Tarot de Jacques Vieilleville, which I showed you, the Tarot des Ambiguïtés. All of those have linen cardstock. And for instance, also the one J.J. Swift by Pitici. Again, I hope you can see that it's linen, that you can see the fabric. I mean, look at the slip. It's just, it's beautiful. Do you see what it does? It slips, it doesn't get damaged. Now this is obviously a very traditional a Tarot de Marseille based on the Besançon version of it. Obviously it's Swiss, but it's based on the Besançon tarot, and completely different artwork from the Tarot of the Divine. But this linen cardstock, and I mean, I use this deck so much, and you wouldn't tell, because this is the cardstock I find that just resists time. It ages really, really nicely. It's a pleasure to have in the hands. I'm always playing with a tarot deck when I'm at the table somewhere or talking to somebody. And so for me, it really is about how does it feel in my hand? Do I like the feeling of it, basically? So yeah, I would be a big hypocrite if I said that the cardstock of my tarot decks don't matter, because it absolutely does. So does the size of the deck as well. If a deck is too big, I may not really enjoy shuffling it, and it may be a struggle, and therefore I may not reach for it as regularly. If it's too small, I will not like it. This is as small as I would go. You know, the Tarot Sirène, as I mentioned. If you look, this is a standard deck, and this one is smaller. This is as small as I will go. Anything smaller than that, it's not comfortable in my hands, and therefore I won't use it either. Okay, then, do you read for others? Question 9. Well, I've already answered that. Yes, I do, absolutely. I post readings on my channel regularly, and I read for others outside of YouTube, obviously, you know, like on one-to-one. So yes, I do. And then question 10, your number one deck you are excited to have come out this year. A couple of things. I have backed the James Reed Kickstarter, the Glyphs, and it's a big set, and it has a Lenormand deck, an Oracle, a Rune deck, and a Tarot deck. I am so excited for this. This wasn't cheap, but I really wanted it. And this should come in the summer, so I'm super excited about that. But I've also backed playing cards, playing card double deck based on the 7 Gables, and I'm very, very excited about that too. Now that I'll receive in September, but that'd be really good because, as I mentioned at the beginning, I also read just playing cards, so I'm super excited about that and getting my hands on those as well. Now Livy did a lightning round questions for the end of his VR, so I think there's 6 prompts. Coffee or tea? Coffee, definitely. It's my sweet nectar. Yeah, definitely. Colors or monochromes? I have to say monochromes. You've seen with what I've showed you, although I have a lot of colors, I do kind of like, you know, sepia colors, grays. There's the blue there. I also showed you the Bianco Nero, so yes, I'd have to say probably monochrome. Cats or dogs? Definitely dogs. I used to have 4 dogs, and now unfortunately only have 3, but I love dogs, love dogs. Nothing against cats, but definitely dogs. Flora or fauna? Both, because you need both in life. Favorite time of day has to be the morning. I am definitely a morning person. I'm full of energy in the morning. I get lots done, and then comes lunchtime, and that's it. I'm pretty much useless for anybody. And then favorite things beside tarot: going on long walks or hiking with my dogs, number 1. Number 2, anything to do with yoga, whether it's doing my own practice or teaching it to others. Obviously reading and watching movies, that's kind of obvious, but I also enjoy cooking. Yeah, I think that's it. So there you have it. That was my response to Livy from CrescentDreamsTarot. Thank you so much for creating this tag. It was really, really fun. I've put the link to her original video in the description box below if you want to go and check her out and check out her channel. Let me know in the comment box what you thought. I love talking to tarot. As I mentioned, I don't have many people around me who talk about tarot, so I'd be more than happy to have a little conversation with you in the comment box below. And yeah, thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And wherever you are on this planet and whenever you're watching this, I wish you a truly magical day. Thank you so much for stopping by, and until next time, au revoir.